All right, wait a couple more minutes here before we jump into things.
Okay, reminder has been sent with the final script attached.
All right, thanks to Talis. All right, Tanya, should we go ahead and get things kicked off here?
Let's do that. And I will just start off with a few words to say thank you so much for joining us today and agreeing to help us out in the capacity of a county coordinator. I think all of us on our side of the house woke up today and recognized that this is our week. This is a very, very large effort that takes hundreds of volunteers. And I think how we're so excited about having community volunteers, but I want you to know that we also recognize each of you in that process, because we know that on top of the many different things that you're tasked with doing every single day, that this is one that a lot of you took time to think about before saying yes. And I want you to know that we were very, very thoughtful about who we wanted to invite to be a county coordinator, because right in Riverside County, the homeless point in time count is very much more than a count. We feel really good about being able to offer this year veterans, youth, seniors, and families with children housing resources. And we're thankful because as part of our meeting today, we're going to be able to talk to you guys a little bit about that process and the ability that we have as a county to connect many people on the day of the homeless point in time count with those resources. So thank you for being a part of this team, our county team, to make that happen. And know that our intent in meeting today is very much to provide you with the tools and the confidence that you need to make that a reality. So yes, tomorrow is our homeless point in time count, and many continuums across, actually all continuums across the United States are gearing up to do this count. And as I said earlier, it is a very, very large effort. So we want to thank you for joining us for this ride. And I think the other piece that I will add is, because we emphasize that this is more than a count, I think that it's been really important for us to make sure that we not only have good representation in every single jurisdiction. So some of you will be representing a city in the Coachella Valley, others in the Southwest, others in Western Riverside County. But we wanted to make sure that every person here, that we all brought the same message, and certainly one that we care about people and recognize that our unsheltered neighbors are. I will steal this from a good friend of mine, Marcus Cannon with Behavioral Health, who always reminds me that our homeless neighbors are someone's friend, they're someone's father, they're someone's grandmother, they're someone's cousin. They are a person. And so my hope is that each of us will remind everyone that we're working with tomorrow of that very principle, and that yes, we're doing this as part of a mandated census to count people who are experiencing homelessness, but in reality, I hope that all of our volunteers, all of our city and county staff, all of our public safety officers who are part of this effort and are engaging and serving someone who is experiencing homelessness will remember that and use that opportunity to make someone feel hopeful and know that there are resources in Riverside County to help them. So again, every person is going to walk away with an incentive bag. They're going to get a flyer where they can know how to access our Home Connect hotline to be connected to a street outreach officer or learn about where our emergency shelter resources are located. So again, our hope is really to inspire hope, and as you will learn throughout this meeting, implement our More Than a Count initiative. So with that, I will go ahead and hand it to James with ASR, who has been a great partner in this effort and helping us coordinate the point in time count. Thank you, James. And James, you are on mute.
Thank you, Tanya, for setting the stage so nicely for us and getting us kicked off here. And thank you all for joining us. Like Tanya mentioned, my name is James Connery with Applied Survey Research. From the ASR team, we have Alex and John along with us as well. Yeah, and thank you so much. And like Tanya mentioned, I hope everyone enjoyed a 3-day weekend and is now ready to go here on the full speed ahead until the day of the count tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get a presentation pulled up with really kind of getting into the gist of where we're at and what the plan will be tomorrow on the day of the count. All right. Can everyone see my screen okay? Is that coming in all right? All right.
Yes.
All right, so first just wanted to kind of give everyone the 1,000-foot view, like Tanya mentioned, of kind of what are the different components of the pit count. So as we've discussed, tomorrow is the day for the general homeless street count. That'll be happening across Riverside County, across all the jurisdictions, as well as some unincorporated areas. Beginning roughly around 5:30 a.m. and hopefully ending around 9:30 or so. In addition, there is an unincorporated count that will be conducted Thursday and Friday, although some communities are incorporating the unincorporated portion of the count into the general street count on the 22nd. There was also a youth count effort being integrated into the overall street count, as well as integrated into the service-based count, which is occurring tomorrow as well as Thursday and Friday. Like Tanya mentioned, we have the More Than a Count initiative that is being rolled into all these components of the count. And again, Riverside County is offering additional same-day services for all veterans, seniors, youth, and families experiencing homelessness. And we'll get into a little bit of the specifics on this a little bit later, but just wanted to kind of throw that into the overall view here. There's also a post-count option, which is if anything comes up where we might need additional support and to kind of double back and hit anything we may have missed, we have a 7-day window for that. And just a little bit of grounding of where we're at in terms of the process and things that we've kind of tackled in the lead up here to the count. Like Tanya mentioned, it's a huge effort to conduct any point in time count, and it is really a huge volunteer effort. So we have over the course of the last couple months have tapped into all jurisdiction and county resources as well as we possibly could have to loop in about 900 volunteers across the county, across all the different components, both the unsheltered, sheltered, service-based, youth, the whole kit and caboodle. In the lead up to the count, we've met with each city and have kind of set up one-on-one meetings with each of the cities to get into some specifics about what we need to be sure of and what we have dialed in and what we need to tackle in each specific city. We've also done that in the unincorporated regions, largely through the sheriff departments. We've had a few different training opportunities. This is kind of baked into each of the specific aspects of the count. So there's been service-based count trainings. We've had general street count trainings, as well as having a YouTube, for those that weren't able to make a synchronous session. We've had YouTube trainings where folks can log in and view YouTube trainings. One that kind of covers the overall count, and then another one specific to how to use the Survey 123 app. We've also been in touch with both the county leads and city leads kind of throughout the process and getting them up to speed. We've had active communication and dialogue with all the volunteers, letting them know their deployment locations, where they'll be assigned, and then also giving them access and the ability to access the 2025 PIT survey, and then also some training that goes along with that. So the volunteers have all been notified of their assignment area, what the specific date and time and location informations are. They've also been instructed of who their site leader is, and then also the county coordinator name as well. And each one has been instructed with an arrival time for their deployment location. All right, getting into some of the specifics about those of you on the call today. I believe we have both site and city leaders as well as county coordinators. Again, we have some instructions here on the page here of what are some of the roles of the site leader and city leaders, as well as the county coordinators. But again, a lot of these, the way we tend to like to think of these deployment centers, in many ways, it's a team effort. Obviously the goal is to conduct an effective PIT count, and there are a lot of jurisdictions and county folks on the call. And each place has a little bit, each city and each deployment center has a lot of different variables in terms of the overall size. Some of these deployment locations are going to be counting, their overall count is going to be, less than 5 to 10 persons experiencing homelessness on the day of the count. Whereas some of the bigger jurisdictions on the call here may be over 100 to 200 folks experiencing homelessness. So obviously there's a lot of nuance to each of the deployment centers. And in general, each site has different aspects that will be involved in getting the best count done possible. So we encourage you as a site leader or a county coordinator to check in with one another in advance of the count if you haven't already, and just kind of get a little bit of a dialogue and a game plan dialed in so we can ensure that you're both comfortable having a process and plan in place for the day of the count. So again, take this as just of a general breakdown, but in terms of kind of some of the division of labor that can work for teams, the site leader can be responsible for kind of managing the volunteer list, ensuring access to the deployment center, arriving on time 30 minutes before, just to get everything kind of set up, get all the ducks in a row. Going through kind of all the deployment site activities, helping with kind of managing the paperwork, getting things kind of laid out, and ensuring a smooth process of getting teams set up and getting teams out the door. determining volunteer team assignments. This can be a big benefit for the city and site leaders that really know the people that kind of have boots on the ground, that are comfortable in certain areas that they can assign to certain assignment areas. There's also a volunteer check-in process. So just as volunteers are coming in, greeting them and going through the check-in process, and then giving them some brief instructions and kind of orienting them to the day of the count. And then also just ensuring everyone has the safety reminders, supplies, and all the incentive items as well. On the county coordinator side, and again, you'll see some overlap between some of the assignments here as well as the site leaders. But again, access to the volunteer list, just so they can see who's kind of coming in through the door. And as a county coordinator, you'll assist with the site leader, or may take the lead yourself, depending on how you and the site leader decide to kind of divvy that up. We will have a script that that each of the county coordinators will be kind of presenting in the morning of the count, that we'll review in a second. And again, communicates with the site lead, kind of checking in, seeing where support is needed, what they can do to kind of keep the process moving. Work with the leads to ensure all the materials and supplies are ready to go. There's a few sign-in sheets. We have a few different flyers and handouts as well that each of the teams will be taking with them. Similar to the site leader, they'll be arriving 30 minutes before the volunteers, just to ensure that all the room is set up and everyone's ready to go. Assisting with the site prep. Again, getting things oriented, working on the room flow, I think, is always an important thing to kind of maximize how many people you're going to have in the room, and how you can kind of partition things off to have to focus on team creation and then getting teams out the door. And then just making sure everyone in the that will be using the app has it downloaded and ready to go. And then also, if anybody has any questions, any technical assistance with the app, that they can assist with that. We'll also have some a phone number and a hotline that you can contact if any other issues arise. Throughout the day, one of the core functions that's gonna be an important thing to keep in mind is the team creation process. And again, this is going to be a little different for depending on the size of the count tomorrow. So in some of the smaller areas, the teams have already, more or less, there's a clear-cut idea of how many teams will be on hand and how many teams will be needed for each of the jurisdictions. And then ideally, we're looking for teams of anywhere from 3 to 4 folks, with the roles as described on the screen: a team leader, a driver, a counter, someone who is managing incentives, and then also and then in some situations, there's sometimes a law enforcement escort as needed as well. Go ahead. Looks like my my presentation's stuck here. Let me see if I can.
It's good now, James.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead and pull it back up here. All right. Hopefully everyone's on the creating teams. So this is something that I think is an important thing for both the site leader and the county leader to work together on, is this team creation aspect of the count. And this just provides an opportunity for the city lead and the county lead to really kind of think through how many teams teams they'll need, and then just ensuring that all the volunteers are kind of put together and working together to get these teams created and their assignment areas outlined. A lot of the jurisdictions that will be counting tomorrow have a really clear-cut idea of how this process will look from their previous experience on the count, or just from kind of hot spotting and game planning things out. So this is something I definitely encourage you as a county coordinator or a site lead to check in with one another to ensure you're both comfortable with the game plan in terms of creating teams on the day of the count. All right, and again, some of the just a little bit of a recap. The leads, the city leads and county coordinators can make decisions about who stays on site and who goes out to canvass the community. I do want to emphasize that there should always be one person on site and be available for the volunteers on the day of the count. So in most situations, you'll probably have more than enough volunteers where both the city lead and county coordinator can stay behind at the deployment center. Again, this is a little bit kind of dependent on each jurisdiction, but definitely one of you will want to stay behind at each of the deployment centers to kind of manage anyone that's kind of coming back in. But in cases where there's one person, whether it's a county lead or a city lead, please just ensure that there is at least one person staying behind to kind of manage the physical deployment location. Some of the here's a couple shots from previous years of what a kind of like check-in process might look like, and some of the variables that can kind of help out. And again, like you see on the screen, one of the things that I like to prioritize at all of the deployment locations is really thinking through that flow. Having a volunteer check-in station right at the front of the door. That'll give folks an opportunity to sign in, and then maybe in a different location we'll have QR codes to access the survey. Maybe having that at a separate location. Having snacks and refreshments at if available at a third location, and really kind of thinking through how to spread things out a little bit, just so there's not any overly congested areas, can kind of help get that call flow, or not call flow, get the deployment center flow kind of dialed in. In terms of the forms, each of the deployment centers is going to have the following forms. There'll be a sign-in form. So as folks come in, there'll be a sheet where everyone can sign in. Like I mentioned, there's going to be we have QR codes printed out for each for both English and Spanish Survey 1, 2, 3 forms. So I'll get into this in a minute here, but the goal is that each team, one member from each of the teams should have the Survey 1, 2, 3 form pulled up and ready to go before they leave the room. So in addition to that, we have the release of liability form. So anybody that hasn't already completed the online release of liability form will also have the ability to conduct the release of liability form in person. And then each team, as they leave, will leave the building with resource guides, a Home Connect flyer, and then some specifics on the More Than a Count initiative. So the QR code, will be printed on just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And again, the important thing to stress amongst the teams is that one team member, at least one team member from each of the teams should have the Survey 1, 2, 3 survey pulled up. It's encouraged that multiple folks have the form ready to go, depending on the size of the team and how many individuals experiencing homelessness they encounter. Will really kind of make the determination of how many folks need to have the Survey 123 form pulled up. There will, like I said, there will be these QR codes will be kind of sprinkled throughout the deployment center, as well as each volunteer that is signed up will have a link and QR code already sent to them in their email. As a reminder, all volunteers should have already accessed the survey through Survey 123. The Survey 123 ArcGIS survey form from their app store. Works both on Android and the iPhone app store. And if for whatever reason someone hasn't already done that process, it's pretty straightforward to get pulled up, but it's go into their app store and search for the Survey 123 app by ArcGIS. And then once you have that downloaded, it's a simple process of just scanning the QR code or clicking the link in your email to open the survey instrument. Let's see. I did want to circle back to the More Than Account initiative. Like Tanya mentioned, this year, the More Than Account initiative aims to provide immediate same-day services to all veterans, transitional aged youth, seniors, and families experiencing homelessness. All those populations are eligible to receive same-day services. So each of the counting teams will have a one-pager that with clear instructions of the More Than Account initiative. The way the More Than Account initiative process rolls out this year is that depending on where you're located at in the county, there'll be a contact number listed on your More Than Account initiative. So please ensure that each team leaves the deployment center with a More Than Account initiative flyer. And then again, any veteran, seniors, transitional age youth, or families that indicate that they're interested in receiving same-day services, there'll be a number that you can contact. And then from there, the process kind of how the process rolls out is you'll have a contact number given where depending on where you're located in the county, you'll have a phone number to contact, and they'll give you instructions in terms of next steps.
James, your slides are not advancing.
Okay.
So we're still stuck on the. Okay, now we see the resource guide, More Than Account initiative.
Are we back on the resource guide?
You're back on the More Than Account initiative slide. There's the resource guide.
Okay. All right. In addition to the More Than Account information flyer, each teams will also have resource guide information that will go out. And then I also wanted to put in a reminder that there's a housing and services linkage question at the end of the survey. So that's something that you can give folks a heads up on as well. Counting teams, in terms of the team construction, many of the counting teams will include street outreach staff and county staff familiar with community resources and experienced in engaging and interacting with unsheltered population. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind that, you know, our hope is that in any tricks and tips that they have from their years of experience in the outreach field or working with the with individuals experiencing homelessness, they can be of support and hopefully linking them to any additional services as well. I did kind of just want to roll up a few important notes between the. Yeah, Tanya, do you have a?
Yeah.
Question?
same issue. It didn't advance to the next slide.
Can you see the important notes? I don't know why it's just did kind of want to just highlight a couple things of the just identifying some of the roles of the county coordinator. Like I mentioned earlier, the main role between the county coordinators and the city local site leads is really just to be a team. You know, the goal tomorrow is to have a successful pit count, and we're hoping that the city leaders as well as the county coordinators can really kind of serve as the lead team in getting the work done. I also did want to highlight a couple things. In some of the jurisdictions, we kind of have what we call you know, count VIPs, whether that's you know, sometimes those are elected officials or what have you, and we would like them to be, if at all possible, have that process kind of set up where they can be arranged with a volunteer that's experienced in outreach, or a county staffer, if at all possible, to kind of help them navigate the process. And then sometimes that can just be helpful if they have any additional questions beyond the specific point in time count, and kind of navigate that process. And again, like I mentioned earlier, there is a little bit of the nuance between whether a county coordinator, it's a beneficial to have them stay at the deployment center, or if needed, to head out into the field to conduct a kind of service area within the jurisdiction. So those are a couple things to those are kind of couple things to kind of keep in mind and help navigate on the day of the count. I also, hopefully my slides moving along here to the additional considerations slide, but I did want to highlight that some cities will be tackling unincorporated portions on the same day. Like I mentioned on the earlier slide, there are some for the most part, the unincorporated portion of the count is occurring on the Thursday and Friday. However, there are some cities that are doing the unsheltered, mostly some of the smaller cities that are doing some of the unsheltered portion of the count on the same day as the city count. And in those situations, for example, in La Quinta and Palm Desert, those unsheltered portions of the count that are led by the sheriff departments have requested additional volunteers, and we have accounted for that in the volunteer assignments. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind, that if there are sheriff departments that have requested additional resources and folks to help them on the unsheltered portion of the count, that is you should the way we've kind of done our volunteer staffing assignments, you should have those on hand for you on the day of the count. Like was mentioned earlier, we also have a pit hotline number 951-358-3844, and that'll be printed on a few of the sheets that you'll have on hand tomorrow. So there's an option for kind of specific technical support if you're running into any issues on using the app, or also if you just have any general questions as well. We also encourage you, if possible, whether it's the site lead or the county lead, to offer up a contact number for folks to reach out if they're having any issues kind of specific to your deployment center. That can be a nice option as well. All right, I did want to go ahead and share a document here, which is, again, this is something that I believe was shared out by attached to the email thread, but wanted to go ahead and just kind of walk through this document. And if it's coming up a little small on my screen, you'll also have this in your email, I believe, attached to the meeting invite. So feel free to refer to that as well. But this is a document I encourage you to print out and or have kind of pulled up on your phone on the day of the count, just to kind of guide you through the specifics of both the prep and then a little intro spiel to everyone in attendance to get everyone kicked off on the day of the count tomorrow. So prior to administering the introduction script, please ensure the following. Again, this is something that we envision being a collaboration of the city lead and the county coordinators at each of the deployment centers. They'll be responsible for kind of working through the site setup, greeting and organizing volunteers as they come through. Making sure everyone has viewed the training information. Those were the two YouTube links that had been sent out. And then navigating through the team creation and coordination process, assisting with the check-in process, and then the final organization of paperwork, making sure every team that leaves has the resource guides, has the specifics of the more than account initiative, and just all the paperwork that you'll have on site. And then when everything is done and all teams are checked back in, there's also just the general site cleanup before leaving. Again, let's see, getting some of the specifics with the arrival and setup. Again, we're requesting all city and county leads to arrive 30 minutes before our volunteers do. Arranging and setting up the game plan for the coverage areas and navigating the maps and hotspot areas and what have you. Posting up QR codes for both the English and Spanish versions of the survey, setting up the check-in, check-out process. And then also, I think it's important to kind of stay visible to the general volunteers, just so they can see who's being represented in terms of who's kind of the lead both from the city lead as well as the county side of things. And then also greeting, and then just making sure you're available to answer any questions as they come up. We've also kind of put together a county coordinator script that we're hoping all county coordinators can kind of walk through. And again, this doesn't need to be read verbatim. If you want to make it your own, feel free. But it's just a little kind of serves as both like a welcome script, and then kind of getting into the specifics. So I won't read it kind of word for word. Feel free to kind of flip through it. But I did kind of want to highlight a couple things. One, I did want to emphasize that I like to emphasize the fact that the team creation process, once you kind of switch from the intro script into the team creation process, I always like in the intro script to emphasize the importance that the team creation really can be a little bit of the trickiest part of the process in terms of taking all the volunteers and ensuring they're broken up into their groups. So I always like to stress that please be patient with us as we navigate the team creation process. We're gonna work hard to get everyone kind of set up into their assigned teams and out the door. And please be patient with us as we navigate this process. Also like to emphasize within the team members, having one person kind of set up as a team lead can be helpful. And I also wanted to emphasize that there's one question within the app. You will be asked if you're able to survey the person. And I did kind of want to highlight the fact that that question is reserved within that question. The reason we ask that question is to ensure that you're in a safe spot to interview each person. And if for whatever reason it's not a safe situation to interview someone, that would be the only reason that you would indicate no, you cannot interview that person. So I think there's been some confusion in previous years of if you're unsure if someone was in a tent or structure. Some folks were selecting no. So just wanted to emphasize that no should only be selected when it's unsafe, not when there's an unknown number of persons experiencing homelessness within a structure. So wanted to kind of highlight that as well. Also wanted to indicate that there is both an English and Spanish version of the survey. And again, you'll have those QR codes available to you at the deployment centers. So if you have a Spanish language person on your team, please plan on using that Spanish version with the QR code as you see fit. And then also, as you're kind of navigating the process, I think it's important to always kind of keep in mind the folks that may qualify for the More Than a Count initiative. Each team will have the one pager. And then just some general tips. Please be respectful of the people that we see throughout the field. We ask that you do not share the exact locations of where people are sleeping outside of this study. Please be respectful and not taking pictures of people you see on the streets or specific locations. And then obviously we understand that many of you are here as friends and of team members and those experiencing homelessness. So we welcome you to kind of take pictures of one another at the deployment centers, but just be respectful of the privacy around you when you get in the field. Your safety and the safety of those we are counting is of the utmost and greatest importance to the overall count. So again, nothing is more important than your safety. So do not go into places where you do not feel comfortable, where there is poor visibility, or where it's unsafe to do so. You'll all be out in the field as in teams. So stay together and check in with one another about any safety issues that you all may have. You'll have access to the hotline number, potentially a number to your site, hopefully a number to your site and county lead at your deployment center. If any questions come up, and then obviously in a true emergency, please contact 911. Also, a reminder that most communities, and again, this is a little different depending on which city you'll be working in, but most will be wrapping up their counts around 9:30 is the kind of countywide goal to have everything done by. But if you're thinking you're going to need additional time, definitely reach out to your have your teams reach out to your city or county lead as well. Another thing to emphasize is making sure all folks return to the deployment center when they're done. So even though all the entries will be done in the app and everything will be submitted through the app, we still like to go through the checkout process just to ensure all the ducks are in a row and everything's good to go. So that's a little bit of the rundown of the script that we're hoping the county coordinators can all kind of navigate and read through and kind of get everyone up to speed on. All right, that is those are a few of the the city and county lead kind of specifics that we're hoping you all can tackle. And again, just to emphasize a couple of the things that we discussed, really each of the deployment centers has its own quirks to it. So we're hoping that if you haven't already, to kind of check in with if the county coordinators haven't yet checked in with the city leads, and really forming a little bit of a game plan in advance can be super helpful, and really kind of getting the game plan set up. You'll have the hotline number, and that's feel free to use that, city and county coordinators as well. If any questions come up, we'll have both the technical support with the app, as well as just general questions on the day of the count as well. So thank you all for joining us. And before we wrap up, we have about 15 minutes or so. Wanted to kind of open the floor a little bit to see if anybody has any questions. Feel free to raise your hand, and we can tackle those questions, or if you prefer to pop a question in the chat, that works as well. Let's see. I have a question from Ruben.
Good morning, James. I might have missed it in the slides, but this is my first time. So for same-day services for vulnerables that are for populations that are eligible, can you describe a little bit more in detail what same-day services entails?
Yeah.
Do you want me to pop in?
Yeah. I'll pass this one over to Rashana. Rashana with the county has been taking the lead on the More Than a Count initiative, so she's got all the rundown for you, Ruben.
Okay, so same day services means, sorry, if a volunteer is out there counting, they come across any individual or families within those 4 categories. They have a flyer. They are to contact the nearest service center. And when they contact that service center, a driver will be dispatched to their location to pick them up and bring them back to the service center, where they will be assessed and provided with same day housing, and either interim or motel or shelter services the day of the count. So we're also having Housing Authority and the VA there as well, providing, they will be issuing HUD VASH vouchers. And we also have the other providers providing the housing services and other supportive services that day when they go back to the services. Now, they are offering their services. However, if they decline the interim housing services, the transporter will take them back to their original location. Our hope is that no one declines services and we won't have to transport anyone back to homelessness. But the goal is to provide housing for all of those individuals the day of. Also, I want to mention at the sites, we will also have some medical screening done as well for those who may need some medical services for those populations. Medical and EBT, Medi-Cal services, those type of services as well. I saw a hand go up. Is there a question?
Ruben.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. So when you said the service center, did you mean the deployment center?
No, so the service centers, with the exception of one, the service centers are located strategically throughout the county, and they were located in these areas based on the last point in time counts. So the first District 1 and 2 is downtown Riverside at the County Veteran Affairs Office. The second one is in Hemet at California Family Life Center. And then the third one, which is That one is also in a deployment site, and that one is located at Martha's Village in Kitchen.
Okay,
The
so that
flyer will-
number, that's the number that we would call if we encounter anyone, and that gets the ball rolling.
Yes, the flyers that you all will receive will have all three of those numbers that you will call to get that ball rolling.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Christian?
All right. Yep. Christian, see your hand up.
Yes, good morning. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
got you.
I want to make sure, in regards to our sign-in sheets, now are those updated in real time? Because just want to check to see if there's certain people have told me that they're going to be probably dropping off, and so do you guys get notified on those sort of things? Should I notify the person that's receiving the data for our area? And some of the trainings, that they haven't completed and stuff like that, it's something that they could still complete prior to tomorrow. That way we don't have to worry about that in the morning.
Yeah, we have the YouTube recorded presentations, which I think one's about 20 minutes and another one's about 10 to 15 minutes. So if you view those will those cover kind of the entirety of the training process. Yeah, I believe in terms of like updating folks, I think that's kind of closed now. But if you could, I believe if you wanted to email us, we can kind of make note of that and see if we can kind of move. I mean, depending on how many folks it is, see if we can move some
I just go
volunteers.
through my own list and just make contacts with everybody on there.
Okay.
If they haven't done the training, I'll just go ahead and remind them or send them the link. Okay,
Thanks, Christian.
thank you.
We have another hand raised from Leah.
Good morning. So it's fascinating. It sounds like it's going to be a really dynamic day with some really good achievements. I'm wondering about the last phase of the work. Once teams start coming back to the deployment centers and they sign out, or then is that it? Then you just shake their hand and they're free to go, or is there a final phase to the day?
That's it. Once teams kind of make their way back, the nice thing about the app is that once you kind of navigate through the survey process and submit the survey, it's a done deal. So then basically once the next big thing from a city and county lead perspective is ensuring coverage of your assigned region. So once everyone's back, and that's typically done kind of as teams leave. And once they're back and all the assigned areas have been covered, then shake the hand and thank them for their time, and then that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Let's see.
James?
Yeah.
James, can I add something to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The sign-in sheet that I sent out last week, and then it has columns of sign in and sign out. Yeah, because we want to make sure that everyone made it safely back to the deployment center. And then so if they can sign out so that when that we want to make sure that all the teams make it back safely before we say thank you and goodbye to them. And then also whichever location that they deemed unsafe or they plan to go and did not were not able to cover, and then just let the staff know at sign out that then in the subsequent days, and then we can have other teams to cover those areas.
Thanks for the clarification, Natalis.
No problem. Thank you.
A couple more hands up. We have Sarah.
Yes, so we got our final list and I reviewed it, and there's 5 individuals that are not city staff for the city of Paris. We've already we have all our teams set, and we're utilizing Sheriff's Code and CityNet as well as housing staff. So our teams are pretty full, but I did notice that there was 5 individuals, 2 from the county, 1 from Cap Riverside, and then 2, it might be just volunteers. So I'm just kind of worried that if they show up tomorrow, our teams are pretty loaded already. I did email
Yeah.
Natalis and let them know that these people they're not part of our staff. So see if they can be redistributed where they can,
Okay.
fill a need there. But if we do
Yeah.
have individuals that show up, we're using city vehicles to transport everyone, and we're pretty much full. So I don't know what to do if people show up, who to direct them to.
No problem. Thank you for letting me know. And yes, we have like a few of those like requests to back to us, and we will do our very best to reassign them. And then if anyone needs to be reassigned, let me know. Let me know, and then I will have my coworker Annabelle to help me to reassign them and send them a new notification. So, and then if they are able to get a new notification, they will go to the new site. But then if they miss that email and still show up, yeah, and then and then we would need to rely on the county coordinator, yeah, to help that person to connect with my coworker Annabelle to see and then where they should be, and then if they're there early enough, and then they can still go to the new location as a last resort. If they have nowhere to go, and they're still at your location, and then we would rely on the county coordinator to use them for maybe some admin admin paperwork, sign in, sign out, and things like that at the deployment site. So, and then so that we don't want to make it a burden as for the city. And then if among the people who you don't need, and if any of them are driver, and then if they can form a team, and then you can assign an area for them to cover too. So we can have this kind of ways to help to use them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, then I see Rebecca, the hand raised.
Hi, thank you. So my question is with regards to the or the initiative, say that you do have an individual that wants same day services. We call the number. Do we have a time frame as into when they'll be arriving to talk to those individuals? I know some of them will probably be asking that question, and then I would hate, if it's a long period of time, them having to leave the location.
So that depends on where they are in the area. We tried to spread out those service centers like kind of in the midpoint. So we're saying 30 minutes, give or take, but it depends on where they are in the county. In that district.
Okay.
But we do it, and on that flyer, it is instructions for the volunteer. We're not suggesting that the volunteers stay with the individuals. They can go on to continue counting, but we are requesting for them to give us a complete, very detailed description of the individual in the area in which they were counted.
Okay, thank you for the information.
There's also questions in the chat box, James, and Leah,
Okay.
you had one in regards to returning the completed sign-in sheets to us. So I think whether it's the city or county coordinator, we would ask that you guys work together on this and decide who is the best person to get that to us. We would like those back, I would say, by Friday, the latest. If you can get it to us the same day, that would be better. And just a scan, you can scan it, email it directly to us at our email address, RIVCO PIT for point in time count rivco.org. But I would say we'd like to get all those in by Friday, January 24th.
Thanks, Tanya. There's another question. Will there be certificates for the volunteers as a small thank you for volunteering? No, I don't think we have that. I think that's probably a good thing for us to look forward to kind of going forward. I know we will plan on pushing out a volunteer thank you email blast to everybody. Just, you know, thanking them for their time and their participation. So that'll be that'll go out in the next few days here as well. Rebecca, I'm not sure if you have if your hand's up or if that's just still up. Let us know if you had another question for us.
No other questions. Sorry about that. Thank you.
No worries. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions. We'll go ahead and start to kind of wind down here. Thank you all again for joining us and getting things ready to go for the count tomorrow. As a reminder, we're hoping that if you haven't spoken to your partner, the city lead or county coordinator, that you do get an opportunity to just to kind of get everything lined up. If there are any other specific questions, feel free to reach out. Reach out to one of us at the Rivco Pit email address or give us a call. And again, you'll have access to the pit count hotline as well if any questions come up on the day of the count tomorrow. So looking forward to it, and obviously this is like we mentioned, it's a huge countywide effort, and we definitely can't do it without your guys' guidance. So we appreciate you all, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. I'm seeing questions in the chat box.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, if you scroll up, so maybe we can just take
Okay.
time to reply to those together before, 'cause I think people who have Teams downloaded, which most of our county workers do, can at least see our responses as they're coming in. So if we scroll up, the first question from Pamela Berkey: will you be sending out one email with the QR code, resource guide, and sheets, everything needed for volunteers? So we did talk about doing that. I think we're gonna have a separate call with our team to talk about the distribution of the resource flyers, the sign-in sheets. There's a variety of different documents that we printed, and we're hoping county coordinators can take to their deployment site. So we can maybe tackle Pamela's question there. Paul Johnson asked, does Riverside County have a hashtag for pit count? We do have a hashtag that we're using for our social media. Does anybody know what that is?
Anya, any of the comments with the thumbs up, I've already answered, and I included the hashtags as a reply.
Okay, perfect. And then, so did you respond to Linda's, what time are volunteers expected to arrive?
Yes.
Okay. And then she also asked, are we allowed to take photos? Did you respond to that one too?
I'm working on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So James, you answered the question about the certificates. Danette Fortin asked, also the DPSS point in time responsibilities PDF, can you share as well? Is that our document, the DPSS point in time responsibilities PDF? Do you know what they're referring to?
Yes, we actually received that. I don't know if we can.
Okay, good.
We received that from the last pit count directly from
from you guys, as well as the day of the count agendas. So I don't know, Tanya, you're actually our correspondent, so we can just talk about that when you call us.
Yeah,
Okay.
all of those forms that you're referencing, we have like different names now since DPSS is not responsible for the count. But all of that is going to be included in the county coordinator box.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then will there be certificates? You answered that one. Our county coordinator is expected to return the supply box. So we just talked about emailing the sign-in sheet. Okay, and then what about areas without a county coordinator? Will the city lead be sent the info? So I think there's only a few cities, right, that don't have a county coordinator. I think Canyon Lake was one of them, Indian Wells, Rancho. Actually, I think for Rancho Mirage, Laura Lucio, who's going to do Palm Desert, is going to do both of them, since historically those two cities have done the count together. So it might just be, is it just Canyon Lake and Indian Wells that don't have a county coordinator? And who asked that question? That was Pamela Berkey.
Yeah, Tanya, well, you can make sure the Canyon Lake rep have the script as well.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're gonna jump off then. We have another meeting, but then we'll circle back with you, James, at 11 o'clock. Thank you, guys.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right, see you later.
Thank you.